Welcome to our novel, Sons of Power. Hit that like button and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already.
In the build-up to the important deadline of 1960, the question arose as to whether France and Belgium would hand over the entirety of the former Kitonganese Empire, or if certain territories under their administration would seek independence. Lord Baku, the crown holder of the Kitonganese realm, viewed this as a betrayal of the 1905 Accords, which guaranteed the return of the former colonies to his crown. I supported Lord Baku's argument and warned the French and Belgians against reigniting hostilities. I made it clear that we were willing to recapture the territories by force if necessary, although it would be regrettable considering the sacrifices our men made to safeguard their freedom while they were under Nazi occupation. However, I also advised Lord Baku to approach the situation with strategic thinking. It was evident that the elite of these territories had been influenced by Western societies, who supported their demand for democracy. They were convinced that electing their own leaders would bring about significant change, without realizing that the former colonial powers stood to benefit the most from this gain. Furthermore, the overwhelming support the elite received from the populace made any military intervention from our side impossible. I could not simply order my men to shoot the Kitonganese people. This was purely inconceivable. In the light of these realities, I proposed a compromise to Lord Baku, granting the people's wish for democracy while maintaining a constitutional monarchy. Under this system, the emperor would remain the head of their states, while the people of Loango, Kanyonga, and Kiwanda would elect a prime minister to serve as the head of the executive branch. Any law passed within the territories would require the monarch's signature to come into effect, including budgets and the appointment of key officials in the judiciary, finance, and military departments. Additionally, I stipulated that every state within the former Kitonganese Empire should allow its citizens the opportunity to demand a referendum at least once every 25 years. This would provide the possibility for any state to return under the executive leadership of Clan Wabonga. If a nation expressed its will to reunite with the crown under absolute monarchy, the will of the people would be considered final and the constitution would be amended accordingly. A second positive referendum 25 years later would seal this accord. However, if 4 consecutive referendums resulted in a no vote, the will of the people would be considered final, and the region's status would remain unchanged for the foreseeable future. This constitutional draft was approved by all territories and signed by the French, Belgians, Emperor Bakumbu, myself, and the leaders of the regional elite on July 4, 1959. Eventually, France and Belgium withdrew from the region and the independence of the territories was proclaimed. My son Demetrius Makarios, the crown prince, was a fascinating figure, by far a more accomplished politician as opposed to his older brother. Prince Kaha was one more interested in gambling, women parties, and a lavish lifestyle. Despite his mother's harsh temper, the lad's will was a hard one to bend. As emperor, this state of affairs had no consequence, for the heir of the crown was the firstborn male of my first union, my capable son Makarios. The Crown Prince spent time with me, learning the ins and outs of global politics with a particular focus in Kitonganese and African affairs. He soon grew to be a powerful critic of neo-colonialism in Africa, writing a few books on the matter following his graduation from university. He was the court's favorite, and soon Kaha began to realize that he too needed to play a more important role in my administration. Upon his 20th birthday, Prince Makarios was betrothed to the Lady Sophia of Clan Papadopoulos, reigniting the bond between the imperial clan and our faithful allies of old. Demetrius and Sophia thought it would be best to wait before having children and focused on enjoying their youth. From 1965, they began entertaining starting a family and would go on to try conceiving a child over the next 6 years without success. After 3 miscarriages, a final examination of the princess revealed she was unable to have children due to a medical condition, a news that devastated her, as well as her family. These events unfolded while Kitonga was going through intense civil unrest, with hundreds of thousands protesting in the streets against the authority of Emperor Baku. It seemed the winds of democracy and change shook the foundations of the Wabonga imperial crown, echoing within its heartlands, where a distinguished lawyer named Antoine Combo led a revolutionary movement to abolish monarchy. Ultimately, the conflict turned into a full-scale civil war. Our hands were tied as we could not interfere in local affairs. We did try to mediate, but it was clear Combo was resolute in his approach, being supported by half of the army. We decided to monitor the situation closely, warning that any attempt on the life of the emperor would be the same as declaring war on Roman Polynesia, a red line never to be crossed. In Wagtalia, the atmosphere was tense for Makarios and his wife. Providing an heir to the Roman Polynesian throne is a duty, one that has to be fulfilled, one way or the other. This meant that the crown prince had to marry another maid, something he was opposed to due to his dedication to the Lady Sophia. On one instance, he even wanted to give up his claim to the crown in Kaha's favor, something senior officials of the military advised against, for Kaha was in their own terms a spineless man. Distressed by the sad outcome of her marriage and fearing that Makarios would give up the crown because of her inability to conceive a child, the Lady Sophia took her own life on December 4th, 1971, plunging the entire empire into darkness. The sad act took place in their private residence in Constantinopolis. 3 weeks after her death, Emperor Bakumbu breathed his last due to heart failure. His oldest son, Prince Felix, took it upon himself to demand a ceasefire to negotiate peace. He offered to grant Democrats what they wanted, with the condition that they adhered to the same timeline as the other territories regarding a possible referendum in 1985 and 2010 for regime change. While Combo wanted the end of the monarchy, he had to concede, for we informed France that if the situation did not improve, we would reserve the right to send troops on the ground. Therefore, Kitonga became the last territory of the vast Kitonganese realm to abandon the absolute monarchy. The emperor was merely a ceremonial leader, one committed to work to make the crown further appealing to the people, with a possible return to the monarchy as of 1985. The constitution was thus amended on May 3, 1972. This was a bad outcome, but I respected the will of the people, even if it was clear they were manipulated by the West in this Cold War era. The Europeans did not beat us on the battlefield this time, but on the ideological theater. I understood times were changing, so did Makarios, who vowed to address this state of affairs.
This episode concludes Chapter 6 of our novel. In the next chapter, key events will shape the future of both dynasties dramatically as the mighty Palaiologos Wahitawahe looks to safeguard its alliance with the Wabonga clan of Kitonga. Thank you so much for your tremendous support lately. We hope to count you among our subscribers. Thus, if you have not done it already, we gladly invite you to subscribe to our channel to be updated on the evolution of our story. Looking forward to our next episode. Cheers.